The Fully Geek. Hello and welcome to the Fully Geek podcast. We've got another special with Martin Daniels. Martin, welcome.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it, Richard.
For the ones who don't know, Martin is award-winning film director, composer, and a writer. I know, guys, it's a lot. But this is the man responsible for so many trailers over the years and films over the years. And we've been following him. Personally, I've been following him for quite a while now. And this opportunity has now come up. You know, we've tried to do this a few times. A few issues in the last one, but I won't tell the whole story, but yeah, it was amusing. It was amusing. But yeah, we're here now. Talk to Martin, and so Martin, first of all, again, thank you for joining. I really appreciate you taking the time out, and but yeah, so for the viewers out there who'll be listening to the podcast, can you tell them a bit more about yourself and your background and somewhat how you got started?
Background's in music, and I started as a drummer in the 80s, kind of mid-80s. Started doing bands and then done a lot of albums, records, tours and stuff like that. Did the States in the late 90s and Europe. And got a lot of magazines and stuff like Kerrang and all those sort of magazines, and yeah, lots of different bands. But then in the 90s, I kind of wanted to learn how to play keyboards, so I bought a synthesizer, wanted to learn piano, wanted to learn how to sing. So I did those things, kind of, and then played a bit of guitar and bass, and started to make music on my own. I was not just the drummer behind the band, which I still like doing drums. I still like teaching drums to friends, but I wanted to do stuff on my own. And I think that's where the thing of composing music came from. And then I think it was in 2011, was contacted by somebody who said they watched, they listened to a track I did and they want to do a video for it. And I said, okay, cool. And we did it. But then he pushed me into acting, which was good. And he was like a filmmaker, director. So I started to do acting in my own films back then. So I was writing the films, sort of kind of directing them and acting in them and casting. So I started that early. But then one of the people on the films who worked with us, called Katerina, she introduced me to Nikolai because I wanted to go from analog film, wanted to work in digital more, like something that was more, you know, Netflix-esque or, you know, really stylish. And Nikolai was the man for that. He's great. He's a genius. So that's, you know, ever since, that's 10 years we've been working together this year. So that come from sort of that sort of thing, really. So it come from someone doing some early films of me, showing me the ropes, and then Nikolai really like stripping it all down and showing me how to write a script properly and being pretty brutal about it, theoretically. But I needed that. I didn't want to be like rapping cotton ball. I needed someone to sort of completely, you know, decimate my scripts and say, this is terrible, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that, and if you're going to be taken seriously by, you know, professional actors. So he was right. So and he worked with Lars von Trier. He's Danish and he works in Denmark with Lars von Trier, the famous director. So he knows what he's talking about and couldn't work with a better person. And I don't like to call him a teacher because I don't think he'd want that. But there is the tuitional side of it is there, and it still goes on today. And that goes into the productions, you know, when it comes to scheduling and everything, working stuff out and logistics. Nikolai teaches me stuff and he's very pulls the reins in if I go too far, you know, like you've wrote too many, you know, too many pages for the money that you've got. So he's kind of taught me about that over the years. So my background started, sorry to digress, in music. So the whole composing music thing come from the early days, and it come from when I was a child, when I was listening to the Star Wars soundtrack in 1978 when I was 8.
Oh yes, yeah,
From there, because I remember buying that because my parents took me to see the film on my birthday in '78. And when I listened to the album, it wasn't the bombastic songs that I was listening to the most, even though I loved them. It was like the desert scene song, and it was the Jawas song. It was all the ambient stuff. For an 8-year-old to love that kind of stuff, I
yeah,
knew that, I was into those sort of pieces of music more, the kind of more softer, really mysterious pieces of music.
yeah,
So that stayed with me. And my parents always had film soundtracks in the house and stuff like that playing. So everything, all the music thing come from there. So that was the whole background to now. That's
yeah.
all that encapsulated.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. The fact that you said you used to be in a band, that's just totally, obviously, that's new to me.
Yeah,
All I've known you for are these films and the
right.
stuff that you've been releasing. So
Yeah,
the fact that you're in a band and you must have that band experience,
yeah,
traveling all over the world, that must have been absolutely fantastic.
yeah. I did lots of bands. Like the first band I was in, we got to music press and stuff like that. But we were like hardcore band. It was called straight edge music back then. So you wore like an X on your hand, and you didn't drink and didn't smoke, didn't take drugs. So well, most of the kids were skateboarders. So this was
Yeah,
like we was all wearing Vans before people's nans were fucking wearing them. So we were wearing them when it was cool, not like everybody else's. 10 people at the bus stop in Vans. It's like, oh
yeah,
fuck. So
yeah,
back then it was different. It was kind of cutting edge back then. Converse was cutting edge back then, and so yeah. But I was in a band, hardcore band that did like Indigenous rights, and there was no bands talking about Indigenous rights. So we were kind of going for that kind of thing. So yeah, there was lots of bands, all really full on extreme hardcore punk sort
yeah.
of. And there was one band that was on Jamiroquai agency, like a funk Britpop band that I was in, that we got on Jamiroquai's agency for about a year almost. I was on that. So, but didn't get anywhere. It should have, but it's just where it goes. It's one of
Yeah, yeah. The music scene is a brutal place,
those.
and from speaking to other people, I'm involved in music, but obviously my music's somewhat different.
Yeah,
But just to kind of get a music put on, to me, I think I've done so much music in the past from my perspective, and obviously my music's always been a UK music, grime, techno, drum and bass,
yeah,
um, and I think I've I've got my music everywhere I wanted to be, but I think the only thing that I'm missing is a music ever being played in a film. And I
right.
think, to me, I was so close to having that once upon a time, and then I remember that I used the sample um, from Deftones.
Oh yeah,
Ah, mate, it's just like it was this close, and the what they wanted on the back of it was like outrageous, and the company said like, let's not do that.
wow. Okay,
Yeah, so
something
yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah, no, that was because it was going to be in WWE SmackDown.
Okay,
um
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, so I
Wow.
was yeah, that would have been one of the biggest things for me, but I was unlucky, and everything else I put forward wasn't kind of no, what else have you got,
Yeah.
so yeah, it is very, very brutal, very, very brutal.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, that was the good old days. So you spoke about, is it Nikai, is it, sorry,
Nikolai Cornum, yeah.
Nikolai? So was he the first to inspire you to work in film?
I think the person I was working with before um, inspired me initially, but Nikolai really did, yeah, because we really touched base on a lot of like films that we loved and directors, and so yeah, we had a lot in common. We still have. So there was a lot there, yeah. So yeah, I'd say Nikolai definitely inspired me to. It inspired me to keep going because there was a point where I was going to stop, which will still happen. But you know, he did inspire me to kind of keep going and just keep, you know, keep upping it each time, keep being more ambitious. And I
Yeah,
like, you know, that's a really good thing to do.
because you know, I know working in general as part of an industry, you must kind of be very disheartened at points where you feel that the project that you've put together, it should be higher than where it is at the moment.
Yeah.
So that again, and like you said, there's times where you felt disheartened at some points. It
Mm.
must be like having that motivation to kind of say, you know what, I'm going to continue. I'm gonna make a difference within the film industry.
I never think that, but I mean that would be a pretty crazy thing for me to think, really. But I just, I always call it the work. That's my own personal little thing,
Hmm.
and that's all it is. And for me, the only reason I do film is to make films that I haven't seen before, and the only reason I make music is to make music that I haven't heard before, and that's it. I just make it for like the blank canvas, you know. Like
Hmm.
1 minute there's nothing there, and suddenly there's something there, and you know, the thing that gives me joy the most is when you write a script and you bring it into a room and actors bring it off the page and they bring your characters alive. I mean, there's nothing more a bigger buzz than that. So that's they're the reasons I do it. It's not for money, fame, to get anywhere, for any notoriety. I don't couldn't give a fuck about any of that stuff. For
Yeah,
me, I'm just doing it for a personal journey on my own. And it just so happens that the films have got a lot better over the years, luckily, and people have caught onto them and liked them, and especially Lizziehead, the previous one. So it's a bonus when that
yeah.
happens, you know, and it's unexpected.
And I must say, Lizziehead, a massive fan of it.
Yeah,
Um, you know, for the ones that who haven't, who were thinking, what's Lizziehead? Um, before we go any further, make sure you follow Martin on MW Daniels on Instagram, um, and you and your YouTube channel as well. You're gonna have loads of your trailers on there, and Lizziehead, before the one we're going to talk about now, was fantastic. Totally different type of story, but I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
yeah,
Um, and again, you've got so much other stuff that I know you're potentially going to work on in the future. Um, but what I was thinking now, um, should we go into your latest trailer, and you know, then we speak about your trailer and the inspiration on the back of the trailer,
cool.
so that you know, so it kind of let everyone see what what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Just give me just give me one second. Let me get my share my screen.
It seems like there's something or someone you don't like coming home to. He is the cause of all your problems, I take it.
No, you just have to wait until tomorrow.
If you're not straight with me, I can't help you. I just want you to be happy.
So nearly getting my promotion, Dad.
That's nice, Chris. So, Kate, how you keeping? You know, with all your problems and that?
I want you to do something. The only way to get rid of rotting bacteria in life is to remove it permanently.
No! Trying to put me in fucking prison!
You're already in prison.
Fantastic.
Cheers.
So that was Beyond Mamushi. Have I said it correctly? Just in case.
You have.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, so when I first saw this trailer, I was like, this is my type of film.
Okay.
This is definitely my type of film. So tell me more about this film. Obviously,
Can't say too much because it will give it away, really. But
well, we can say there's an abusive partner in this.
yeah, it's about a couple, as you can see, and yeah, she's got psychologically abusive partner, and they kind of move into this new house. But yeah, so from there, yeah, it's quite difficult to explain where it from there. But so it's a psychological supernatural horror film. It's loosely, no, it's not loosely, it is supernatural, yeah, but it's not overall like that. It's a very brutal film. It's quite upsetting, I suppose, disturbing. It's unrelenting. It's merciless, really.
Really?
It's bleak as fuck, yeah. And that was the idea going into it, that I wanted it like that. It's complete antithesis to Lizziehead, where it's, I wouldn't say it's humorless, but there isn't humor in the film. It's a pretty horrible film, but it's a beautiful film. Yeah, I'm really proud of it. You know.
See, and this is the thing. You know, when I watch a lot of films,
Yeah,
and I'm like, who the hell, like Stephen King films, for example, and I'm thinking, what the hell was he smoking? What drug was he?
yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you the same question. Like, where do you get these thoughts from, and how do you, because it's like, how do you do this, and how do you get to this point where this story is like crazy, but it just kind of formulates and you get it all visualized. Like, where'd you get the ideas from?
I don't know. It's a difficult question. It's a great question. It's every film has specific things to it, you know, the story. So I want to write something different each time.
Yeah.
So with Lizziehead, I write a dark comedy, and I thought, okay, I've never done it. Let's have a challenge and let's try and do something like this. And I must admit, I did watch what was it called, Fleabag originally, and I was thinking, fuck, that's amazing. You know, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a genius, and you know, this is great writing. So it kind of kicked me up the arse to do something, but not like that, something more extreme and more crazy. So Lizzie had kind of loosely come out of an inspiration from Fleabag, I suppose. Beyond Mamushi was completely different beast, really. I suppose it was created almost without anything else in mind, film-wise. It was just ideas in my mind, because I've always got stories going in my mind, and films, and all sorts of stuff going on up there, you know. So yeah, it's, you know, and it's kind of, I'm always, the films are like about myself, so I'm always in the film, as in like Charlotte's character could be me in Lizziehead, and Karina's character could be me in Beyond Mamushi. So it's stuff that I've gone through that I'm kind of subliminally writing into the film, that, you know, I don't know why. It's not like a self-help thing for myself. It's like you go through things, don't you? And you just you document them, and that's what comes out in these films. And I think with Lizziehead, with Beyond Mamushi, I've known lots of people that have gone through domestic violence over the decades, lots of friends and acquaintances. And there's always social comment in a lot of my films, and I wanted that to be a social comment in this particular film.
Yeah.
And Lizziehead, kind of depression and loneliness was a loose kind of social comment, you know, because we do see her depressed at points. And yeah, I wanted to kind of, I wanted to sort of do that, really. It's very important. So Beyond Mamushi is on a bigger level than that, you know. It's very prominent when it comes to, you can tell the social comment and stuff like that. But they just come out. Yeah, I've got probably quite a crazy mind, so all these things come spewing out really, and it's probably for the best they come out. Let's say.
Oh God! But see, and this is another thing, because my bugaboo about modern day films, they're just remakes of previous films. Like everything, nothing is fresh. Nothing is fresh at all anymore, and that's really, really frustrating. And I said to myself, the film industry is literally dying.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I agree. And remakes and this. Yeah, I'm sick of all that stuff really. And it's good to have something different. A lot of independent films, generally, you find directors and writers who are really interested. They're trying something different, something new, and they're approaching it from left field. And I like stuff like that. I like music that approaches from left field. It could be popular music, it could be dance music, but I like it when it's got a little kink to it. It's different, that catches you, and you're like, this is different. And I like films like that where you kind of think, shit, I haven't really seen nothing like this before, and this is quite almost original. The word original these days is quite a difficult word to use because everybody is done stuff. So yeah, but I don't see my films original. I think they're just pushing the envelope maybe at points, I don't know.
Yeah. So when because obviously you make films and you compose music, it's always easy to kind of start a first draft, but how to do the final script of it must be so difficult. It must be so. Yeah,
it is. It's because I kind of write it in here in my room and act it out, so everything's kind of ready. It sounds like the Joker, doesn't it? But it's like everything's like ready. It's like everything's kind of ready when I go in there, which it never works. It never works like that. But so yeah, it's like the first draft is picked at for ages, like a long. Beyond Mamushi was probably about a year and a half. Lizziehead was ages. Like the first draft was back in 2019, and then it was just left, scrapped it, and then did other films, and then come back to the idea in 2021. So it was a really long kind of quite gap of a few years. So these things happen, and you get ideas on the bus, and you get ideas everywhere, and you kind of get home from work, and then you start to rearrange the scripts again, thinking I've got to put this bit, So that's how it comes. The first draft is, you never go with the first draft. You never send out the first draft.
Yeah.
Nothing like, obviously, but you've got like the foundations there, and you've just got to build on it, and that's the fun thing. Once you've got that first draft, you can start to dismantle it, reconstruct and dismantle, reconstruct, and so on and so forth. And that's the fun of it for me. I love that,
So on to another question. Do you write with actors' vision in mind, or do you let the story lead first? How does that work?
Both, both. Because sometimes I know actors really well. Like, I've known Karina for 14 years, so I kind of know what she's like on camera. She's been in a lot of my older films. I know her mannerisms when it comes to acting. So, and her vibe and stuff, which is amazing. So, yeah, I can write around that and write something, which I did. I wrote it around Karina. And the same with Charlotte. I don't know. I haven't got as much as history with Charlotte as I've got with Karina when it comes to films. But still, Charlotte's been on a couple of my films. Know Charlotte well. She's great. So I knew how to sort of write Lizziehead around her. So you kind of do that, But the story does, the story leads. You kind of, that's the main thing. But then if people have got these suggestions and they're good, I'd kind of put them in if they're really good. If they're rubbish, obviously not.
Yeah. But, so you are open to kind of like some kind of input from the actors.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember I had a conversation with someone previously, and they were really like, no, this is my vision and this is what I want, and do it my way. So that's really, really good that you have actors who are willing to put an input and have a say, or maybe ways of making it look better than it is, or be better than it is, I say.
Yeah, you're right, because there could be I mean, no disrespect to whoever that person was, but you know, you could have someone could just, like a delivery person, could be delivering something to his door, walk in and see what he's doing, suggest something, could change the film that he never even thought about. So, but whoever it is, it's like a dominating personality where they want it their way, which is up to them. It's their film.
Yeah.
But for me, people can change things, and it's not like you've lost your kind of baby. It doesn't work like that. It's like I like kind of people to it's like a collective as well when I do films, and I like that. I'm not the director guy stomping around pointing at people, telling them what to do. I'm not that sort of person. So everything's a collective, and we're all there to do the job. And it's great when it's like that and it works. People got some absolutely amazing suggestions that don't even write scripts. So it's great. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. No, because I was going to say, what techniques did you use to work with actors and bring out the best performances?
I did think about this question. I did initially think of baseball bat, like that's the original, or like bone saw.
Here it is.
Yeah, I was thinking of those two things. No, I think every single scene in every single film requires a specific technique. If it needs it, right? So that's the thing. It's not like every film needs it. Every single scene and bits of scenes need it. So you sort of fluctuate and change as the film goes on. But normally, it's just little bits and pieces that I go through with actors when it comes to directing. But I normally hire people that are pretty shit hot, so they know what they're doing and they're great. But there's just little bits of tweaking to do along the way. So there's nothing massive where you take a sort of actor aside and take them through something for half an hour. It doesn't happen now. And I'm glad of that because it saves a lot of time. So, little tweaks kind of work. So there's little techniques. It's very difficult to narrow it down to one there because they're all different for specific parts.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So I know it is a demanding industry. So what's the biggest challenge during production, and how have you kind of overcome it?
The biggest number one challenge, which should always be like that for me, I think, is location. So that's the first thing. Then it's finance, as in the second. Everything else is a breeze, really. It's hard work, but compared to finding a location, the financial side of it's not too bad, but location is the real shit every single time. And it's almost got to the point where I don't want to do films anymore because I'm sick of just going through that location thing. It's just like pisses me off completely, and it's but I've got to go through it. I've got to do it, but it's my most thing when it comes to doing a film.
So you know what? Sorry, go on. So when you mention location, what stops you? I know you probably need some form of permission from the local council to kind of film on a particular site. So how difficult is that to kind of go and get?
I suppose we're kind of, as they call it, guerrilla filming. So I don't do the permission thing. We just like go there and do it. So we're anarchists. No, we just we go there and do it. And it is quite anarchic, so it's great. But I don't think I ever have got permission particularly. I can't remember. But you normally hire out people's houses. But the problem with location is you can get the person's house, but then you've got to negotiate the money. And that comes obviously out the budget. And therein lies problems straight away. So, when it comes to, paying people out and everything else. So, it's hard, but so it's the next film I'm going to write will be location heavy. So I'm I'm continuously beating myself around the head with it every single time, making it more difficult for myself. So, but that's what I do, you know, that's what I like to do, make it a big challenge.
So, in regards to location, everything that you've done is always been in the UK. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, would you consider doing something abroad?
I have, but again, it's not in the budget, you know. If I
But
had a decent budget or a massive budget, possibly, yeah. But and it needs to look, you know, specific to the film that I'm writing. I wouldn't just go abroad for the sake of it, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it needs to, you know, if it was set in a specific location where it's like, you know, has to be in Brazil or somewhere, you know, great, you know. But the money and the finances of getting people over there and actors wanting more money, possibly
yeah.
paying the crew more, it doesn't work for me. So I just kind of cut costs and do it the best way I can, you know.
Yeah, and you moved on. You've said it a few times, and it was location, and he came down to finance.
Yeah.
Finance must be, to me. I'm surprised you didn't say finance at first, then location.
Well, yeah. I mean, I work a day job, and for a very long time now. I mean, a really long time. I've been in a day job, so for me, I've saved the money and takes quite a while, and I do it. So, you know, I haven't got an agent, I haven't got anything like crowdfunding. I just slog it and do it that way. And because, as I said to you before, it's a personal thing.
Yeah,
And it would be nice to have like a producer where I produce everything, but having someone in there like to
yeah,
handle things, you know. But again, it's more money that comes out for that. And you know, I've been trying to get an agent for ages, and even that's difficult, you know. So even though you won awards, doesn't mean you're going to get a foot in the door and get an agent. So it's a bit of a, you know, doesn't really work like that. But no,
oh,
finally, definitely second with this.
oh, it must be so difficult. Like you said, even difficult getting an agent. You know, like the amount of stuff that you've kind of put together,
Yeah,
and you would have thought that people be knocking on the door and
yeah,
potentially, can you help me with my project, or you
maybe.
know
I think they want stuff that's possibly, I don't know. I mean, this is like just one of my theories, but probably digestible, you know. And a lot of my stuff is obviously not digestible, whether it's kind of a bit over the top or extreme or crazy. And it's quite risky, you know, even probably some of the old films that I've done. So, especially one of those films. So, I think that, yeah, them taking a kind of risk on stuff like that, you know, it's what they can make, you know, it's what they can make, not what you can make, you know. They want to make money out of you, you know, and they want to pay you last. So any agents who are watching this, that's it. I'm completely fucking drowned, you know, but I don't care, you know, so it doesn't matter to me.
yeah, yeah,
But one day, but I don't know. I mean, I'm like 60 in 5 years. So for me, you know, I've done a lot of films, what I want to do. And if it got to the point where I stopped, hey, you know, that's it. You know, it stopped. But I'll keep going. I'll keep trying to find one. But even if I do, I don't know. It's like as Pete Townsend in that Who song, you know, new boss, same as the old boss, you know. So it's like you got another person breathing down your neck, you know, giving
yeah,
you deadlines. And for me, I like to work on my own way of doing things. I don't want someone on the phone saying, you know, have you got this done yet? And blah 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 blah. And you
yeah,
know, so that's the way I work. I just like working on my own pace and
yeah.
stuff.
I know. See, because again, like you said, having an agent, that pressure,
Yeah,
that is that pressure, and where you've used to being, you're used to kind of working at your own pace, and
yeah,
that's gonna be completely different.
yeah.
And
It will be.
because we've seen films and TV shows, and the last half an hour of that film has been absolutely rushed,
Yeah,
and you're thinking, what's gone on here?
that's right.
You know,
That's,
there's so many films I've seen, and especially of recent times, where I think the films I'm talking about 15 to 20 years ago,
Yeah.
They've always had a great beginning, middle, and end. But a
Yeah.
lot of the films now that you tend to see is just like, what's happened here?
Yeah.
You didn't explain that section. It made no sense. So what was the purpose of this character from the beginning of the film? And that really frustrates me.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. You know, I totally agree with you. And as I said, it comes probably back down to a lot of these independent writers and
Yeah.
directors and filmmakers, and they've got that time to sit down and almost in their own pace to write stuff and work stuff out. And obviously, once you got the Hollywood thing, you know, it's like too many cooks, you know, spoil the broth, you know, kind of. And it is like that. It's so many people checking films. And there's, I don't know, you know, so many mistakes in a lot of those films and continuity errors. Where in a lot of the independent films, maybe there's quite a few less than that, you know, because I'm the person who's studying my films, you know, so and looking at the continuity errors, you know, and if you had like 200 people looking at it, you know, it doesn't work like that. So I think for me, you know, it's how can I explain it? Everything's by my own pace. Everything's done in my own kind of way, I suppose, and I kind of prefer that than someone saying, you know, why don't you change that? You should change this. This won't work, and you know when the thing's done, and yeah, I wouldn't want all that sort of thing. Someone's taking it off you literally, and
Yeah.
if they can offer me 5 million, yeah, you can have it, you know. But it's like,
There you go. Your hand is over to
yeah, you can have it. I'll write something better next week, you know. It's like, give me the 5 million and I'll fuck off, you know. So it's great.
Oh man, I absolutely love it. So you know, going back to your music. So in all your films that you've kind of put together,
Yeah,
is everything your own music?
yeah, it is. Yeah, everything's mine.
That's because I've obviously I've watched other trailers and I thought I wonder if it's, even though you say composer, you know when you just think, did he really do all this? And I'm like, if that's the case,
Yeah,
you've done a good job.
thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I mean, there was a film we did called The Mind of Juliane, which Charlotte was in. Charlotte and Renee were in, who were in Lizziehead, and this was back in 2019. And did all the music, but there was a music from a young singer-songwriter that I heard on YouTube, and I said to her, "Oh, you know, I love this song that you've done. Could I license it out?" And I paid her not a big sum of money, something small. And yeah, she said you can use it on the film as long as I get a credit. I was like, "Oh, cool," you know. So I used it. So things like that I'd use because they're you know required, but the rest of it I'd make the music. I mean, I had the idea for the next film to actually get all kind of like musicians or bands or people that I like, kind of independent bands, to do do the soundtrack. So there'll be two soundtracks to the next film after Beyond Mamushi. There'll be a soundtrack that's orchestrated by me of incidental music, and there'll be a soundtrack of actual music by you know, like kind of mod music or you know synthesizer music or industrial music or all sorts of music. So that was the idea for the next film, to have two things going. So one of the soundtracks I didn't actually do anything with at all. I just got people to do it. So because it's like a big it's like an ambition, you know, because a lot of people do that, you know. It's just like Tarantino, where he goes, you know, he uses different people's music for his films.
Yeah.
And I really find that inspiring to do that, definitely. But yeah, so all of it's me, apart from maybe a couple of little bits and pieces what I've got people to do.
Yeah, and, you know, with me, I know I know in the past where I spoke to guys who like producers, and they've always had issues. Like, you know, can I just put a song? I'll give you the credits. People are like, no, I want 50% or 70%.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys, you know, independent film trying to do something, and you're making things difficult, but and I'm promoting your music.
Yeah, I tried that on Beyond Mamushi. There was two parts in the film where I was going to hire out a track, and I did look into this, and it was scary. So this guy in the States who licenses all these things, he said, oh, how much do you want? I said, well, it's like 60 seconds or not even 2 minutes. And I
Yeah.
said, how much do I have to pay? And he said, it's probably about $4,000 or $5,000. I was like, what the fuck, And he said to me, what you've got to do is you've got to pay each year for it's in a festival, because every time it's in a festival, I think you have to pay money or something like that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
That's insanity. So again, I was going to do it the anarchic way of just like nicking the track and just risking it and thinking, oh, who cares? But I thought, I can't do that, But yeah, it would have been really nice to have these 2 tracks. But they're on big labels, and I think one of them was on EMI, so it's very difficult to do that. But you've got this kind of dream, haven't you? And think, God, this would sound great on my film, but it wasn't to be. So I just ended up writing the whole soundtrack within a year. It took me a year to do Beyond the Mamushi soundtrack, the longest I've ever taken to do it.
What?
Yeah, normally it could take 3 months. Lizziehead took 6 months. This took a year. Yeah, really long time. Well, I scrapped the original one, started again, and
So a soundtrack. What? Sorry, just to jump in. A soundtrack can take you up to a year or 6 months.
It took me a year to do the new soundtrack. Yeah, because a lot of it was theory. So I was sitting around for months thinking about what I'm going to do, which I like doing, and then into practice. So I've got my equipment here, but I didn't. I'm just like sitting here thinking about it and listening to other people's music, and then walking around thinking about what I'm going to do, and then finally doing it. See, I've got this like strategy in my mind before it all gets executed onto sort of tape and stuff. So yeah, this year took a long while. Yeah, this year was done, and I didn't have any idea how to open the film. I was like, "What's the theme music going to be?" And I'd scrapped loads of theme songs because they sounded shit. And suddenly I had the idea of library music from the 60s and 70s. I was thinking, okay, let's write something based around that, because I love that. I love library music from that time. So I did, and it worked. It's got that jazzy feel to it,
Yeah,
but
cool.
the film's very orchestrated, so yeah, it took a really long time to plan it. And it's all planned,
So usually, how long is your music for? That when you compose it, is it for like 6 minutes and you just chop it up and put it places within the film, or
yeah? I mean, Nikolai always has a gripe about that with me, because he's like, opening music, this is like 10 minutes long. It's like, it's meant to be like an intro, like
because and this is what I'm, because when you say to me like 3-6 months to a year, and I'm thinking it's only an intro won't last no more than 30 seconds to a minute.
They're quite long pieces. I mean, a lot of it's based around classical. So, I was researching a lot of classical. I'm a big fan of classical, always have been since I was a kid. So I was researching Ligeti, who did a lot of music on The Shining, in 2001, the Kubrick films. I'm a big fan of Ligeti, so I was researching how he works with choirs. So that took me months. I was thinking, how do I, do that on my own with a keyboard, with some voices, and like recreate this choir sound that's like smudged and it's really haunting. So I finally got my own sort of way about doing it. But it took a lot of research and planning and reading things and just thinking, not even like playing stuff. So, and then there's a trial and error thing where you're just rehearsing, playing, trying things out. And sometimes I can get 2 tracks done in a morning. Sometimes one track would take me months. So it just depends what the requirements are for the piece,
No, and I totally get that. And from my perspective, thinking about music, if it took me 6 months to make a song, I'll be stressing out. I'll be stressing out. Usually when I put a kind of a beat together, that comes within and what if I have an idea that comes to me within an hour,
Yeah,
or
different. Yeah, with grime and with drum and bass and
yeah,
all them sort of like styles of music, and it's a bit different, really.
yeah,
But when it comes to this sort of music, because it's kind of there's a lot of strings and stuff, and yeah, it's a lot of research goes into it, like to do it. Other than if I was building a hip hop track, which did a hip hop album during lockdown.
did
Um,
you?
yeah, I did a hip hop album with like 17 women, all around the world, which like I did it because like I couldn't get to a studio or do anything, so I
Yeah,
wanted to do something when I was at home on furlough. So I contacted 17 women, and I wanted them to talk about their struggles. So a lot of Muslim women talking about their struggles in the industry and their struggles with Islamophobia, and a lot of women who were struggling against sexism in the industry. So it was cool, but a lot of American hip hop magazines hated it because they was like, we don't want what was it? It's like they said, we don't want someone's mum telling us what to do. Like they were getting all kind of arsy about it, like because it was women, and I was like, what, what fucking wankers. So it was, it wasn't about the usual hip hop things. But then again, I've been a big fan of hip hop since the 80s, and for me, I don't see it like that.
yeah,
If you Company Flow and Cannibal Ox and all these things, they're classic underground hip hop, and they've got nothing to do with the commercial side of hip hop, the usual side of hip hop, which I found tedious, unless it was NWA, then it was fucking great. But
yeah, yeah,
apart from that, all the stuff after that was just like rubbish. So I wanted to make something, and I did, yeah, and it was a good record. And I'm trying to get it re-released, like physically now,
yeah.
and start doing it again. Yeah, so it was a good record,
Mate, you know what I'm gonna say? I need to hear this. I need to hear this.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll put it together, put the things together, and send you it.
oh,
It was good. A lot of the women said, thanks for giving us a platform. And I said, it's not. I'm not giving you a platform. I said, we're all in this together. I said, if I
mm,
was giving you a platform, it would be a terrible, I'll be going against what I'm standing for. I said, we're a collective and we're in this together. I
yeah,
said, 18 of us. I said, there's no platform. We're all going against all the shit, and that's what we're
exactly.
doing. We're fighting against it all. And they had brilliant things to say, and but again, a lot of people didn't like it. Muslim rappers on albums and women who are
Yeah,
Muslims, and but that's exactly the sort of people's noses we wanted to get up. That's what we were doing. That was our aim, to show that their sort of idiocy and the media that surrounds Muslims was fucking rubbish. It's like so. But it was a good thing we did, yeah.
the media, and
I know.
oh,
Wankers.
absolutely, absolutely. It's just like the media can be your best friend,
You're
and
right.
then be and destroy your whole entire life, your whole
Yes.
career, and as they call it now, you're cancelled.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Got many, many sides to it, you say.
Oh, mate. Yeah, we can talk about the media all day,
I know.
absolutely all day long.
I know.
So, so where we coming to the end now. So, what do you want your legacy in the film industry to be?
Um, that's a really good question. I thought about that. It's such a difficult one, but I thought that it's kind of pushing the DIY ethic. That's the only thing I could say about it. The DIY ethic, as in, you could do it yourself. You could write it. You can do something.
Mm,
I'd like to think that that's what it is. That I'd push that. And people that come to me and said, I really like your films. How do I write a script and how do I do this and do that? And I was like, yeah, you can do it. You just got to literally start writing. And I got to quote Phoebe Waller-Bridge again here, and she said that on YouTube on an interview. Just start writing, just do something. Just
yeah,
whatever on mind, get it out there, get it on paper, type it up on the computer, whatever it is, and it starts from there. Everything blossoms from there. but you got to attack that blank canvas and get something. So the DIY thing about, you know, anybody can do it. You haven't got to be some special gifted person. I certainly don't think I am at all. So I'm just someone who just does it. I just do it, and that's it, and it's automatic, and because I don't know any different. So, you know, I always tell everybody I was put here to create and nothing else. So that's the reason I'm just here to create stuff, and then I'll fuck off, you know. So for me, like, you know, that's all I'm here for. I don't give a fuck whatever anybody says. That's my kind of philosophy in my mind, you know. And I just want to create stuff because I enjoy doing it, and that's it, you know. So yeah, pushing the DIY effect that you can do stuff. Anybody out there who wants to do a film, write a script, they could just go and do it. You can do it.
Yeah, and I think people, like you said, because people don't realize how long it, like you mentioned, Lizziehead, you started it in 2019 and you shelved it, right?
Yeah.
So and people don't realize it does take a long while to kind of put a film together or an idea together. And I think people who have the idea of doing it will tend to kind of, oh yeah, I can get something out in 3 months. But it just it doesn't work like that.
It don't work like that. And originally Lizziehead was called Weird One. And it was called Weird One pretty much right up to the filming. And, you know,
Oh
all the
really?
drafts were called Weird One, yeah. And then it finally changed to Lizziehead because, yeah, it was a better name, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was called that. And even in the original film, that I cut a scene of it where Charlotte says, you know, oh, that was a weird one. And, you know, that was meant to be an ode to the original name. And I was thinking, no, that's dog shit. That's got to come out. So I took that out. But yeah, things, you know, things do take a really long time. And it's just, it is a lot of theoretical planning. That's the really most important thing, to get everything straight in your mind
Yeah.
and execute it practically. That's the way I like to do things. And it's messy. It's not particularly tidy all the time. I can't lie to you. It can be a complete mess, complete, you know, craziness, but it works. We get it done in the end, and it comes out really like amazing, you know.
Oh, fantastic. And I know I said that's one of my last questions, but it never is because I'm always thinking about things, right? Question about AI.
Right.
As you know, AI is what we live by, and how we write somewhat write complaints, because I write plenty of complaints and I use AI to assist me and provide the necessary information I need to.
Right.
But script writing,
Yeah.
with AI,
Yeah.
what are you because you know there was a writer's strike, but there's been, I think there's been many writers' strike, right? And people are, because the whole thing about AI is being used to write scripts. What how do you feel about that?
I'm a big fan of AI, so I use AI a lot, as in like designing record covers and different things at the moment. I've got really into AI last couple of months a lot, and when it comes to that side of it, to script writing, no. For me personally, no. I like doing it myself, and I don't want a synthetic version of what my, you know, AI can't read what my kind of, you know, mind's doing. So, you know, only I can bring that out. You know, AI won't have a clue. It will just give a version of, which is, you know, in my book is not good enough. You know, I don't want a version of. I want the real thing. But I can understand why people use it. But for me personally, no, I would never bother with that at all.
No, and I totally agree, because again, also what I feel with AI, people lose creativity.
They do. It just condenses things down, and you know, there's so many things in AI where you could just see through the cracks. You know, you can see through it straight away. That obviously, you know, it's artificial, so you can just see through the whole thing. other than it's someone's real kind of vision of doing things.
Yeah.
An AI vision, it's like this alien vision of doing things. But yeah, it's not for me at all. It's not for me. Same as tracks like lyrics and AI writing the songs and lyrics. Forget it. I'm not interested in that at all. That stuff. I want to hear the singer-songwriter do it.
Yeah. No, and I totally agree. And another thing about AI, AIs are being signed by record labels. Like,
well, I'm not surprised. But as they say, AI is taking over and it's creating a lot of fear. But also there's a side of AI that's pretty joy, brings people joy. It brings me joy. I love kind of, like messing around each weekend if I've got some spare time, designing stuff with AI and putting in kind of prompts, and it's great. I find it great fun, but obviously there is a kind of more sinister side to it where, yeah, it's that sort of future, bleak future that people don't want. And it's writing things for people, and I just don't agree with it. I think people just get on and do it the old style way and forget about AI stuff doing it. But record companies, I mean, they'll sign any old shit, wouldn't they? So, it's like, look at here, so they'd sign any old shit and make it like 7 million, But sorry, I can't help it. But yeah, but they would, if it's got financial legs, they're going to sign it, and that's what they're looking for, obviously,
Oh, typical. It's all about the money, though, isn't it? And
it is. What it is. It's all about the money.
It's all about the money. That's all about the money.
Exactly.
So we've come to the end of our interview. So beyond Mamushi, when is that hitting our screens, and where can we find it?
Originally it was going to be out this year, and it would have been out by now, but there was a scene that to be re-edited, just because I wasn't happy with a specific scene, and we just finished that last weekend. So as the year's kind of, it's end of September now, there's no point in putting the film out. So I think we're going to change the posters to 2026 on posters, and I'm going to start sending it out in January, February time. So it should be hopefully in festivals, if anybody takes it. I don't know, maybe before the summer. I would have thought so anyway.
Okay.
But as all my films, I kind of do them, put them out, and forget about it. Pretty much, unless I'm sending it out. But I still forget about it and just get on with something different and almost forget I've done it. And that's kind of a good way to do it. Because nothing really drops through your letterbox, so it's almost good for you to forget about things and let them do their own thing. And but I don't know. I'm very proud of this film. It's, more so than Lizziehead. This is a really special film, and phenomenal acting in it. It's unbelievable acting in this film. And yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed if it doesn't get anywhere, but still, again, I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah.
So.
No, and I totally agree. But as as this is your own, like you said, it means a lot to you. You would hopefully someone will realize the effort that's gone into it, and I think that's important. And even though you say is obviously it's more of a personal aspect of things, but when someone realizes that, this is pretty good.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the reviews on this one. To be honest with you, I'd be interested to see what people say about it. And we've already been through all that with Lizziehead: the good reviews, the bad reviews, the all right reviews, and so that's fine, But with this, it's a completely different thing. It's a different film entirely, and it's it's a violent film, and it's a very bloody film because we use prosthetics in this film for the first time, and so yeah, it's a different beast completely compared to Lizziehead. And I don't think there is swearing in this film, but it's nothing like Lizziehead swearing where it's continuous. It's not one of those films. And
Lizziehead. Sorry, Lizziehead. I just remember the first scene, and I think she's walking in for the date, and
Yeah, I know.
mate, mate, you know I need to watch that again because that's hilarious.
It's
It is.
great.
It's quality.
Yeah, I mean, there was talk about doing a second one, but again, I don't know. I did put it to the guys, and they're all on board. They all want to do it, but I don't know. I just don't know about a second film. There's a lot of reasons I want to do it, and there's a lot of reasons I don't want to do it. So I can't quite make up my mind still about Lizziehead 2. You know, it has got a name, and there is a poster that I come up with for the film. There's sort of a story already, but I just don't know if it's a waste of. Or I should just keep moving on to something new all the time.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. We'll see. You know.
And you know, if you need a someone as an actor in the background, just walking around, mate, I'm here for you. I'm free of charge.
Yeah, you got to be in there. It'd be amazing. It'll be amazing. You know, you don't want to be in the background. You want to be in the foreground. You want to like have proper dialogue and like deliver it to the camera and great.
Mate,
It will happen, but it might happen in not that film. Might happen in a different film. Might not be Lizziehead. Might be the next film after Beyond Mamushi. So, which is a very different film to both of the last two films.
Well, and that's what I was going to come on to. What is the next project?
The next project, I mean, if it happens, because there's a lot of reasons why, there may not be another film ever, but hopefully there will be. But it's always like this for me, But at the moment, there's a lot of things that are quite dicey when it comes to finances. So I don't know if this is the last film I'm ever going to do. Don't know. There's a big possibility that it will be. But I'm determined to do this next film. But the next film won't be done until 2028. So it's a long time.
It's a long time.
To start filming. But yeah, it's a different film. It's about a band I used to be in. So it's fiction and non-fiction. So I've got to cast someone as me in the film, which would be quite sickening for the actor.
Yeah.
God, they're going to spew up everywhere. So yeah, and the guitarist from the band, a guy called Clinton, went for a lot of racial problems, in the band that we were in, and he went for a lot of depression. And I asked him if I could write a film based around him, and he said, yeah. He said because he likes the social comment of that, and he said it's really important for me to do that. So I said, okay, I'll do that then. And I did originally write this film, but it didn't work. I scrapped it, and now I've got a better idea of it. So it's going to come out, and the film is going to be called 92.
92. I like that.
92 is in the numbers. 92. Yeah, because it was in 1992 we did the band.
So you've got to make this happen, right? The fact that it's based on yourself and one of your band members who suffered through racism and depression. This has got to happen.
Yeah, it's a big. Some of what I've written already is pretty phenomenal to look at. Yeah, it's full on, but it'd be really good. So it's not just surrounded by music. So it is a film about music, but there's other things. So it's like Quadrophenia. The nearest thing it's to that, So it's got a love story. It's got a love triangle. It's got, he suffers from the depression and the racism things there, and because we're a 3-piece band, and we done a few gigs, and we felt this kind of thing here and there, this racism thing and stuff, towards Clinton and stuff like that, and yeah, it did affect him and stuff. So obviously, so I didn't think until decades later, becoming a filmmaker, I want to tackle this. This is a really important subject to tackle. So there's stuff in the film that actually happened, and there's stuff in the film that never happened at all. So I'm kind of blending that fiction and non-fiction idea, and I like that. I think that's a good idea to sort of do that. So yeah, I'll see, if it, I'm really determined to do this film. It's been on my mind for about a year now. So yeah. But there's no script written. There's just ideas at the moment. I'll construct ideas. Maybe next year I'll put a script together and we'll see, you know, if I can do it or not, you know.
Well, I'll be definitely looking forward to that without a doubt.
You'll be in the film somewhere. You'll be like, I don't know, a bank manager, like, or something like that, like 3-piece Armani suit or something.
Yeah, mate. Mate, just I'm always here. Anything that you need me, just let me know. I'm involved. Just message me. Let me know. Give me a call. I'm there. I'm there. I'll take a day off work just for you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You've probably got big mates. I'd be like, shit, I won't be able to afford him, man. Jeez. You know, what we're going to do. But no, I'll bear that in mind. It's very much appreciated.
Nah, that's no problem. Martin, thank you so much for joining today. I know it's taken a while for us to get there, but
that's all right.
We finally got here, and it's been absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
It's brilliant. It's been a pleasure doing this. No, thank you so much.
Nah, not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. Thank you guys for joining, and catch us for the next podcast. Take care. Bye-bye.